Hello. Oh, we got a little dark space.
Just a little bit.
I'll be right there.
Nice. Oh. Good evening, everybody.
Trying to fix something.
Hopefully you've put the kids to bed. You shut your lights off. Because it's time for Kyber Cave After Dark.
Woo! I'm excited.
Let's do this thing. You know, it's gonna be good tonight. There's a couple of topics we're gonna hit, and this first one just became a thing a few days. Okay, so disclaimer: it's always been a thing, but apparently it's become a thing in the news just a number of days ago, and I'm excited to talk about it because I don't think anybody on the screen or at home can deny they haven't been through it once. But first, introductions. Van, how are you, dude?
I am good. I am here. I'm excited. This weekend we've got one of our distributors is doing a con in Nevada, Frag Con, out in Fallon. So if you're in the Reno or Fallon area, make sure to check that out. Actually, it's going on right now all the way to Sunday. And they have Kyber Cave product out there as well. And we are going to be, on Sunday, we're going to be at Toy Fusion in Sacramento. So it is our chance to get out and about. And we are only 8 people away from giving away our next saber. So I really think, because like last time we went to this Toy Fusion, we picked up like 20 new followers. So I really think this Sunday we're going to be giving away a saber. So make sure to tune in Sunday night. And we will be giving away a saber. And Marissa will be here, so she actually has the brains and shit to you know, how to run shit.
Excellent. And, you know, as always, do your typical like and subscribe, but get your friends to watch and get them to like and subscribe too, because this is fun. Dave, what's going on?
Oh, just happy that another week is over. Happy to be here on the show. And, you know, I'm here for dirty humor and inappropriate comments.
We love you for that.
Aren't we all?
And the Segway master, you know, as well as being the sword master, right?
You are the master of segues, exactly.
What's up, Janina? What's up, V?
Hey, the
Veronica!
Segway. Oh, hey. I had, sorry guys, I'm late. I had to set up my background one more time. This is the last time you're gonna see it. So I had to set it up one more time.
You're late? No excuses.
I am.
Anthony, what's cooking?
Well, you know, I've had a fun roller coaster of a week. I had some work conflict issues I had to resolve, which we did have a meeting today. It went pretty well.
That smells like a segue.
Yeah, it does. It is.
Maybe we should save his and come back, circle back around.
I'll come back to that in a second. But anywho, I had a really good show on Wednesday. It was a cartoon night. I did Dr. Mrs. the Monarch and Linda Pop Burgers. I haven't posted those videos yet, but they are pretty funny. But then I had a gig that was scheduled for tomorrow that I've been looking forward to for months, and somehow today I've sprained my foot.
Ouch.
So, like, literally there's a tendon in the top of my foot that I can feel is just shot, and I can barely walk. So I had to tell them, no, I can't do it.
Jeez, I'm crow. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Ibuprofen.
Yeah, copious amounts.
And drugs, lots of drugs.
Skycracking from Fremont Beer Company. Thank you. Papa Pavlos and Lodi. But yeah, so the work thing, it is a great segue because it is one of those things that I have an employee that kind of disrespected me outright through text message, and it's in a group thread, so like everyone can see it. And I had to address it with my owners, like, hey, this is a problem, and I've seen it with other people, so we have to address it. And then, like, sitting at the table, you know, it's basically him saying, well, I do all of this extra stuff, and I do all of this, and that, and it's just nobody asked you to do that, and it's actually causing problems because now you're feeling slighted that you're not getting more recognition for shit. So, yeah, quietly quitting. Let's talk about it.
All right. Before we do, let's intro this lady right down here.
Oh, I thought she was before me.
No.
How many drinks have you had?
You talked for like 2 minutes before me. I'm sorry. I thought that was your moment.
Those sky krakens are really cracking, it sounds like.
I've only gotten halfway through one. Shush.
And I know I might need to buy that product.
Some.
It's only a 5.5. Shush.
V, what's up?
Hey guys. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm even still, look at me, I'm all over the place. I've been going crazy. I've script writing, like meetings, doing my new studio. Like I said, this is like the last time I'm going to be doing this. I'm excited though, because it's going to be more professional after this, which my sound has to sound more professional on it because of some of the stuff I'm working on. So, yeah, but I'm excited for the episode tonight. It's not like I'm shirking my duty or quietly doing anything.
Van, without any further delay, do you want to bring up the little text?
Did we get to David?
Oh,
did we? He's muted.
We can't even.
I know
hear him anyway.
David don't want to talk to nobody.
Yes, we did get to
But
David.
it was another week. Another show. He's glad to be here.
I'm quitting
not
talking
crazy. I listen
quietly.
to you people talk.
See, Anthony's always on it. Always. Every time.
That's why Anthony is who Anthony is, the star of the show.
ADHD, and I pick up on weird shit. But that's just,
All right.
Sorry.
Van, subject number 1. Throw it up there.
Dun, dun, dun. Wait, so is that what we're doing first? I thought we were doing the other one first, but okay.
No, we're going to hit this one.
Oh, I
Damn
thought
it!
this was the
I had a
hard
great
subject.
segue ready for that one and everything.
Boy,
You just
exciting.
stole my fucking flame right there, dude.
Plugs are off, motherfuckers.
David's gonna start quiet quitting.
All right. So, before we get into this...
No.
So before we even get into this,
Brass powder.
let's go ahead and define what this is, because we're gonna get a 10 million comments and 10 million stories and all these variables and variations like we do.
Hey, wait, hold on real quick. Am I hearing?
I wish we'd.
Am I hearing crickets or a fan from somebody? Oh, as soon as I said it, it stopped.
Probably from David.
I swear to God, as soon as I
the
said
crickets
it.
aren't out yet. Give them about an hour, then you'll hear them out my window.
I wish we'd brought up the
not quiet
TikTok
enough
I
yet.
posted into the chat, right? Because it makes so much more sense when you play that video. I don't know if we can.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't know. It's not in our playlist here.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal with what quiet quitting actually is. First of all, it's not quitting your job, okay? It is quitting being enthusiastic or putting any additional effort into your job.
Basically
And nothing
being lazy.
else. You don't it's not going out and telling every single coworker not to try anymore. That's why it's called quiet quitting. And I'm pretty sure everybody on this screen and everybody at home watching has reached a point at some time in some job where it's like, you know what? I don't want to give any effort anymore.
Yeah.
Because, they can't really expect me to come in here with a great big fat fake smile on my face and pretend to be excited about all this, because I'm not paid to have a great big fat fake smile on my face and be excited to do this. I'm going to keep it real simple for you. Let's take the stereotypical burger flipper, okay? The burger flipper goes into whatever restaurant they work. They say good morning or good afternoon. They get their utensils, get their stuff ready, and they start flipping the burgers. And that's literally the objective of said contract of this employee. They go in, they greet, they do their job, and they go the freak home. They are not obligated to put forth any additional effort. That is, they provide their service, and they are paid for said service.
Basically,
Anthony.
minimum wage, minimum effort. That's what it comes down to.
Dave.
Wages are just way too stagnant.
Quiet quit.
The fact of the matter is that I'm a bartender. I have to be 21 just to even do my job, and yet they still want to pay the same wage as they would a burger flipper. Minimum wage is kind of prevalent in the restaurant industry, and that's why a lot of us rely on tips, right? So at the same time, like, I do have to go in there and give the extra effort with my customers because I want their money. I want them to like me. My whole like charm is that I want you to come in and be so enamored with me that you have to come back to have that experience again. Because I learn people's habits. I know if they get the same thing all the time, all I have to say is it the usual? And they know that I know that it's exactly what they want. I know what to give them. But at the same time, I just was talking to one of my other management staff, and he's tired of nobody really listening to him as like the new general manager, and he's upset with that, and he's not getting the support from our owners in that regard. So now he literally told me today, like he's going to recommend me to take over that position because I'm also the bar manager, and it would just literally be the entire restaurant. And
Wow.
I already told him, it's like, if that's going to happen, I'm getting a severe pay raise because I'm not taking on dual duty and having all of this extra hassle and being on call all the time and basically having to work outside of my work hours for nothing. It's kind of remarkable, just what I have to do. I have to go to the grocery store for this place like 4 times a week because of the random ass shit that we've decided to have in some of our drinks. Granted,
What's up, Jeremy?
partially my fault. I picked some of those ingredients for those things, but at a time they were available at Costco. Fucking dragon fruits for some reason not there anymore. Otherwise, I do like my job, but I've been there. I've been there at most places at some point where it's just like I don't feel like I'm working my ass off is getting the recognition or the pay increase for it. They literally just exploit you. And are like, oh yeah, keep doing that good job. And when you're like, oh, can I get a raise? No, sorry, but keep doing that. Keep doing that thing right there. Do it by yourself and let other people take credit. Yeah, cool.
Anthony, let me ask a question. Actually, first, let me point something out. So, Florida is a right-to-work state. I just learned from this nice lady right here that California is also a right-to-work state. And for those who don't really understand what a right-to-work state is, it's quite literally, as an employee, you have the right to work under said conditions, which also means that an employer can and will terminate you at any time for any reason. Example, if my boss were to go on the internet right now and listen to me talk like this, he could, in effect, fire me tomorrow and not give me the reason why, and it would be perfectly legal.
Right.
So let's take that, and let me ask you a question. Do you feel that when you reach that point that you don't want to give, or when anybody reaches that point of, I don't want to give extra anymore, do you feel they are within their rights, and why?
Wait, within their rights to what? Sorry, like
Just
repeat
to
that.
let you go.
To quiet quit.
Quiet quit.
When the boss
Well,
is
okay.
like, oh, you've done so much extra
So-
late and you're doing so wonderful, and where'd that wonderful attitude go? Bring it back. No, really, bring it back.
Mhm.
So the sad truth is that a number of the people I do work with already kind of give the bare minimum. Like, if anything, we're overstaffed because I have way too many people that like kind of just stand around. And I in a management position try to find a polite way of trying to engage them to at least be productive during that time. Because like just standing there doing nothing, that's not even doing the bare minimum. You're just existing in the space.
When I was a bartender, what you need to start doing is whenever my bartenders would do that, I say, if you have the time to lean, you have the time to clean.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
everyone's heard that one. I always do it like, hey, can you guys go like check this real quick, or hey, can you go see if we have more of this? Like I basically like ask them a favor to go do something, and then they usually do it, which is good. But for the most part, like I'm not concerned for my job because I know I'm good for business. And even if my bosses were watching right now, like I love the establishment that I'm in, and I love the money that I've been making because it's better than I've ever had in any other restaurant that I've worked in. And I've been working in this profession for like 16 years. So, I mean, it has its bonuses. It's right down the street. I like that. It's just I dealt with a lot of passive aggressive attitudes and work related issues at my last place, and it was like they never really had my back. And they weren't hearing me or seeing me where I'm like, this person's giving me severe attitude and I'm literally their boss. And you're giving me no authority to reprimand them or give them any sort of consequence because reasons. Because we don't want to have to reschedule the shifts.
So it sounds like a hierarchy issue.
Yeah, it is.
That
It
is
is.
so much more common than people realize.
It
Like,
is.
so many businesses go through that. And a lot of it, unfortunately, has a lot to do with laziness and lack of courage, lack of backbone. I'm serious. Like, why give a person a position of authority if you're not going to grant them the power to utilize it effectively? If somebody is not even meeting the bare minimum, then perhaps they don't need to be there. And it should be up to somebody, not the highest of the high, to have to come down to, the middle management or the lower upper management and do their job for them. I mean, then why in the blazing blue did you hire that person for that job in the first freaking place?
Well, there's a lot of people that are somehow connected to the family. Like
And
that's a big factor in it too.
not only that, you have a lot of people that will take advantage of different little loopholes or things that they know that they can get away with in California. For example, there was I remember at my son's mother's job. This was a job like many moons ago. Um, there was the woman previous to her had been there for 2 years, but she was on maternity, or she was pregnant, and so she just like stopped kind of doing her work because she knew that they wouldn't fire her while she was pregnant, because then she could accuse them of firing her because she was pregnant. So they had to hire. In fact, they hired my son's mom to help come in and do extra work that she wasn't doing because they couldn't fire her.
I mean, I've had other jobs, and I actually did end up getting fired after a while. Thank you, Ryan. You're so sweet. um, I did get actually ended up getting fired, but it was sort of like I worked for this really horrible museum, and they wanted me to lie. So, uh, and having done a historian's job, like, you're not allowed to lie. If you get caught lying, no one in the field will ever trust you again. Like, you. So they wanted me to lie about some facts, and I wouldn't do it. And they said, "Oh, we want you to, just say it. It's no big deal. No one's gonna know the truth." And I'm like, "I'm gonna know the truth." And it's not nice to talk about the dead in a nasty way. And I kept fighting with them, kept fighting with them, kept fighting with them. Um, and so eventually I did get fired, but like those few months leading up to me getting fired, I was quietly quitting. I was like, okay, guys, it was obvious. I was like, because I would give tours, and I was, supposed to be cleaning the museum and stuff, and helping out. But I'd be like, okay, guys, welcome to the museum. I'm your guide, I guess. And I noticed that other people that work for the museum were quietly quitting too, where they were sort of like, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. And so Ian Watson says, when an employer gets used to your 100% and after so long you're burnt out all you can, they will absolutely lose their minds because they're realizing they cannot get the effort out of you that they could before. Usually when they're trying to keep that job until you can either get better employment or, in my case, move. Think of moral effort. Energy is a lemon. You only make so much lemonade until the juice is gone. And once an employer realizes there's no more, it cuts off. So I highly agree, because it is morale. It's a big morale thing where an employer gets everything out of you, and it's like, I've given you so much, and I come into this job 100%. I'm giving all my energy, and you're giving me nothing back. You're basically saying, like, I could replace you in 10 seconds, to the point where you're like, then why am I here? But you don't want to quit, because, like, often in American, it's funny because I have so many of my friends.
But is that a selfish attitude?
So
I
many of
mean,
my friends laugh at me about this because they're like, you Americans are so funny, where we are ingrained to like feel like quitting is a failure. Like, and a lot of other, like, a lot of my European friends are like, but quitting is not a failure. Quitting is like a relationship. If you're not ready or you're not perfect for each other, then you shouldn't be together. And I'm like, that is the perfect. I've thought about that in the last few years. Like, if it's not perfect, then it's not supposed to work, right?
What?
I personally would say that I think that depends on who you're talking to. You're talking about your European friends, right? And if you were to talk to maybe some of your friends in Japan or China or Southeast Asia, they
Oh
might
yeah,
say the
yeah.
exact opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They might be more inclined to work more hours or to do more work just to keep in good graces or keep their job. And also I think it has a lot to do with the culture around you.
Mhm.
I really think a lot of this has to do with the time period and the culture that we're in. I mean, I really think the fucking pandemic fucked people up in a lot of ways
Oh
and
yeah.
kind of shook up the planet in ways that we're not going to go back. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's like because I thought it's funny that there's so many jobs open and they say, oh, nobody wants to work anymore. I think it's just people are tired of getting their asses kicked for no money and not being able to make it anyways. Fuck it, if I can't even get an apartment on minimum wage, what's the point of working it?
Well,
I'm
and
gonna
that's the thing is that the cost of living is far too high. The housing market right now is ridiculous. In my area, you can't find a shack for under $400,000. And
right.
we're talking something that hasn't been updated in like 50, 60 years, still has that old wallpaper. The person who bought it for $30,000 died. And now
Right.
they're selling it for this ridiculous markup. I mean, I went to this housing development because we've been trying to work a deal to get our house that we're living in. And when we've been talking with our landlords about this, we have a very good relationship with our landlords about this. But when we kind of really started breaking out with the deal, like she wants to structure it with a 15-year loan, which doesn't work because I need a 30. Now she's a little older and we're trying to do this thing where she's like carrying the title and being the bank. But after a few years, we'd like try to get the 20% back in, whatever that is, refinancing and buy her out. But the way she was wanting to structure it, I can't afford that. I can't afford a $4,000 a month mortgage on top of everything else with insurance. And then on top of that, we went to another development that's over by our Walmart that they're building all these new houses. They're all these cookie cutter things. It's a really compact neighborhood, but they're decently nice. So we went to check it out. This lady was like the sweetest form of condescending I think I've ever experienced. Like we walked in and she's like, hi there. Are you here to check out our model homes? Like, yes. Well, just to let you know, everything that we currently have has been sold out. We are currently in phase 8 of 13, so we will be building more. But we started about $600,000 for our first model, and the one down below is really in the $700,000 range. Okay. Like, wow, fuck you
Okay.
for telling me you can't afford to live here. Mm-hmm. So we still checked out the fucking homes, and the sad truth is that most of them were terrible. Like the first one, the smallest one, only one with a good layout. That was like I could actually see myself living here and being like, wow, look at my fancy house. Everything else, tiny, cramped, weird hallways. Like one had like a fucking studio apartment essentially attached to it. It's the guest suite. But I'm like, that's literally to move in somebody to pay part of your mortgage because no one can fucking afford this house.
Right.
It's ridiculous how the cost of living has gone up.
So then let me throw this into the mix. Knowing and employers do this. Knowing that there are unaffordable situations, knowing that there are employees who keep the job because they gotta, because that job pays them enough to
Survive.
afford the mortgage, feed the kids, whatever, and the employee, and this is I'm gonna call it for what it is. The employee makes this mistake. If the employee lets the boss realize that they need the job and they can't get fired, then the boss will completely exploit them. Oh, you're going to take this extra assignment on because if you don't, you're fired. And they pull that BS. It's happened to me in several jobs over the last 20 years. Because especially after my kids were born, they pulled that nonsense. Oh, you've got a kid to feed. Oh, you can't afford not to make this much. Oh, you have to work these hours because you're going to be in real dire straits if we fire you and let you go. You don't want us to do that. And that's the attitude, and it's still happening today, and it's ridiculous. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I live in the bartending service realm, restaurants and whatnot, and right now that is a market that's desperate for people. I know I have options. I could go to several places currently that I know are looking, and probably find like a second job if I need to. I did let my bosses know that I wasn't happy that I wasn't getting the schedule that I needed because I had more day shifts than night shifts. And for me, like I'm doing the inventory, I'm the one that's one of your star team players, and I'm not getting the lion's share. But I have all this like responsibility with little to no authority. Like you have to give me more nights. So they were definitely empathetic on that one because it makes a difference. Like last night, I made $400 versus a lunch shift where I would have made like 120. So that's going to help circumvent a lot of my own issues. And at least like I feel kind of safe where I'm at, and I usually do because I know that I'm not a dime a dozen kind of person, but I do empathize with this movement and, bringing it back and just saying these are my boundaries and I'm not going to do all of this excess for literally nothing else. You have to give me something. Give me a raise. Give me something this. Give me the ability to like make decisions about the things that are important there. And I think that if we start getting healthier relationships within our companies, that'd be great. But like companies like Amazon, I know are fucking terrible. I know that Walmart's fucking terrible. All of these big multi-billion-dollar ones just literally use people as fodder, and it's sad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, hold on. I want to say something here.
Yeah.
Dave, jump in.
So, I'm under the school of thought that in order to be successful doing anything, you need to
Aubrey's
work hard
here.
for it.
Hi.
Hi,
I'll be
Aubrey.
quiet. Hi.
Aubrey.
Sorry, I ran a little late today.
I'm
I'm
Apologize.
totally
Excuses.
with David in that statement. I think that working hard is great. It's just it sucks that
Anyways,
I was told that if you work hard, you get something for it, and my experience has told me otherwise. That they don't really do that. They tell you some things, but they don't give you much. So I think
Right.
that that's a lovely myth that used to exist, but it's not as prevalent today.
okay, well, it also, I think it has a lot to do with the kind of job that you have. Now, if you are a burger flipper or a cashier at Walmart or something like that, working hard isn't going to help you climb a ladder. I mean, it might, but chances are it's not. That's a stepping stone job that you take that job to meet your needs and while you look for a better employment and work towards getting a career. If you
I
find
think
yourself
that's a
in a,
mess. That's a mess. It's a
Have you
mess.
ever worked at Walmart?
I haven't worked at Walmart. I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
I've
able to
seen
work at
yours.
Walmart.
As someone who has,
I'm absolutely too allergic to stupid. I would choke out a customer
So
in a
you
heartbeat
can get
on day
promoted
one.
in these jobs heavily.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
can,
you're not
actually.
gonna become the CEO at those jobs, but you can get promoted pretty quickly and pretty easily. Especially because they have high turnover, where these jobs yeah, you guys are all they have they have high turnover where you watch your the people that you came in with quietly quit, actually quit, get fired, or just they're seasonal, so they're not coming back. And then the people who tend to get kept on tend to go up in the ranks, like you go manager
it's like a
and
shift leader, then a
shift
manager,
leader, yeah.
assistant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, but it is one of those places that you get kind of trapped in, and
Mhm.
it's difficult because you can't really do anything. You can't afford anything. You have like the discount card, so basically you spend all the money that you make there at there just to
Mm-hmm.
get a slight discount. And like, what else are you going to do? And it is one of the more soul crushing experiences I've ever had because I did it to survive. And I can guarantee you, most of the people that are working there are there because they survived. These aren't teenagers. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Burger flipper, the Walmart greeter. These are not people that are like, this is my first job for experience, so I can go to college. Like, these are people that I have a mortgage and a family, and I literally don't have any other options because our entire fucking system sucks.
it's broken.
It's totally broken.
I was working. I remember working at the mall when the housing crisis happened, like what 12 years ago. And I remember you wouldn't believe the number of nurses that were coming into a children's clothing store begging for a minimum wage job because like any little penny they could scratch together to help pay their mortgage, selling off furniture, selling off TVs, anything they can, because they absolutely got screwed over. I mean, a lot of families did, but yeah, that's that's unfortunately one of those things that kind of just hits everybody
Well, and that's the
And
problem.
unfortunately, it hasn't gotten much better either. It started to, and now it's kind of back in that same place where it was before.
And
Even worse in some cases.
I actually, and of course he's gone. The one time I'm going to say, I kind of agree with David. I think sometimes it has to do with
Shh,
the
don't tell
job
him.
that you're in and the industry that you're in. A lot of service industry jobs, you're just going to get shit on. That's just what it is. And
It
I'm not
should
done.
have.
I'm still on.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still
because
on
customers
audio.
and
not always right. They're
Anthony, when
terrible.
you were talking about the amount that you were making as a bartender, imagine making minimum wage and your job, your literal job is the lives of babies and children. And now consider preschool teachers and caregivers. They literally make the least amount of money and have to me, if we're entrusting them with our babies while we go to our job, one of the most important jobs on the planet. These are some of their first teachers to teach them how they are going to be respectful to the other kids in the preschool or the daycare. They're some of their first teachers aside the parents, obviously. But a lot of our jobs that are important, a preschool teacher, you have to have a college degree to make the least amount of money that you can make with a college degree. And again, your job is to set these children up on a path for life, to show them what it is to be a good, responsible human being around other human beings.
Oh, I didn't pursue more education when I was in college because I saw how the student debt was crippling people. I knew far too many people that had like master's degrees, like multiple,
Hmm.
working at Starbucks.
Right.
So your degree is a piece of paper that you paid way too much money for, and people would say, "Oh, well, it was a stupid degree to get." Then why is it so fucking expensive? We've
I,
gotten rid of a lot of trade schools. We really shit on mediocrity, and it's kind of sad. Just people shouldn't be shit on because they are working at a job. Like it means that you should have a minimum wage. Means it's the minimum amount to still exist in America. And it's sad that people need like 2-3 jobs just to kind of have something extra in case something happens. Healthcare is ridiculously expensive. I'm never going to have that. I'm
Oh,
never going to have healthcare
there's
because
a
I don't know
millennials
comment here.
who that offers it.
Right.
millennials are
Those ones suck.
millennials are
Millennials.
buying houses together, like friends that are both married. Like maybe me and my best friend are both have husbands, and like buy a house together, and like raise their families side by side. That's what millennials are now doing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if any of you have noticed, but we are seeing a major upspike in getting back to multi-generational homes, big
Hmm.
houses with like 4 living generations of family, and the youngest generation being like 5 or 6 siblings, and then tack all parents, grandparents, and great grandparents onto that because that's how they
AKA
have to
Asian
live.
houses.
No, Irish
I mean,
Any
there's a bit of
houses.
that, but
house,
that's
any house.
That's a
any
hot
house at this point. But
Mormon house.
Yeah, no,
uh,
I think it's a lot more prevalent. We used to. It's just I think it's just that the world that we were told, the narrative that we were given, especially some of us of a certain age, when I was growing up, the spiel was, you go to high school, you graduate, you go to college, you graduate, you go to a job, you work there, you retire, you die. That's your life plan. You know what I mean? That
hmm
that world does not exist anymore. Nobody's retiring from companies. You have to kind of make your own thing or build your own thing just to be successful. You're not going to do it
well,
working at Grubhub. You're not
right.
going to do it
Well,
under somebody else's model.
we can look at the past, right, and see how a lot of this comes about. We can look at the decisions that were made. We had There was a crisis that happened in the early 1900s, in the 1920s, 1929. We had the stock market crash, right, and then we had the Great Depression, and then through that, we had all of these reforms that were taking place with the New Deal with FDR, which fixed a lot of the problems that caused us to getting into the problems that led us up to the Great Depression, led us to the crash of the stock markets, right? And then the people that were on top that really were affected, the 1%, were not happy with that because suddenly they were paying taxes. They were paying a lot of taxes, but that caused the infrastructure to actually get better, and that created this bubble. It wasn't just the World War II, and a lot of people like to blame it or like to put it on to World War II, but it wasn't. It was a lot of because of the New Deals, because FDR had, because he had 4 terms, right? So that meant that a lot of his policies were able to really like solidify and really get put into place. So once we had the World War II, we ended up getting the surplus because we had all of these things that were put into place that were being put into infrastructure. So because we had all of that going on, the 50s, we had women and men working and they were getting paid fairly because, that's when minimum wage came in. You had Henry Wallace who made all of these like pushed, he was the vice president, the first vice president for FDR. He pushed for all of these policies to be in place. And so because of that, we ended up having this huge surplus. And then we got Truman in, and then we got all these other kind of people in that, but you still had like the New Deal that was still in place up until the 80s.
The more you know.
Right, up until the 80s, and then Reaganomics happened. And instead of like, the 1% paying the most taxes to have all that infrastructure coming down and paying in the roots of people being paid fairly, this is why we had such a big middle class, was because we had the biggest companies paying quite a bit of money. So what they did, instead of having that money as profit that they had to pay all these taxes on, they put it down to the workers. And they gave us a fair shake. They give right. And so so a lot of that profit ended up being paid to the employees. And so the employees were able to afford houses, and everything was affordable because of that. And then Reaganomics came in. Reagan came in, and he was like, no, we're going to deal away with all this structure. And I mean, I could go, there's a lot more that goes into it.
Well,
people who are rich need more money. They deserve it clearly because they have more money than God.
Well, because the idea is
during the Great Depression, we also had the exchange of going off of the gold standard system and converting over.
A terrible idea. Yeah,
this is why we have the National Treasury, right? Which from there we've always been in debt. And I've often wondered, who the fuck do we owe money to? If we're supposedly the richest and greatest country, like who the hell are these invisible people that own this institution that has a stranglehold on America and really the rest of the world, because America is the dollar standard for the rest of the world.
Originally,
who the fuck owns this?
Slaveholders.
Yeah,
it used to be the slaveholders.
Right, and then when you're talking about Reaganomics, we had the in the 80s or late 70s. That was when corporations became people, and therefore
no, actually, the people corporations becoming people was much earlier than that. Was actually
this is when
at least when they became
the tax rates,
right, where you can make the tax rates that were there people, right, they were already considered people before then. But
the tax rates
put a big thing on that.
The rich used to pay upwards of 60 to 70% in taxes back in the 70s. Yes. That's why America was great back then after World War II, because the rich were paying their fair share, and corporations weren't seen as people, so they were paying their fair share. I mean, a lot of the people making the most amount of money in this country right now don't even pay taxes here. Apple does not pay taxes here.
Yep.
95% of pharmaceutical companies do not pay taxes here.
Bezos didn't pay taxes on $8 trillion that he made in profits. Did not have to pay a cent from all the loopholes.
Right. And he got such a good deal on the postal service, and then we're wondering why the postal service is struggling, because they can't get enough money from all these corporations that are using it, but we have to pay a higher price.
Right. So and that's when you saw lobbying becoming a really big thing. That's when you saw as you said, corporations being able to basically pull voting power, was because those decisions of making it so lobbyists like super PACs, corporations, have a say in where they can put money into our candidates. So that was starting to really happen. You had a lot of these issues. You had you saw the chipping away at a lot of the New Deal things, the New Deal, like the agreements that were made from FDR in Congress. And there's just so much
really quick
that causes to come down to this.
Harrison Show says y'all know about the I don't know if it's pronounced Huawei
Huawei.
fiasco. Huawei, and I think that's just
Why?
has does that have to do with it being a Chinese corporation and how every Chinese corporate, which is why I don't use TikTok. But every Chinese corporation is considered part of the communist capital. They are allowed access. The communist government in China is allowed access to every corporation within their borders. And I
Mm.
know Huawei, a lot of government, they were trying to get rid of Huawei phones and products and things like that because they were a Chinese
And
company.
yeah, and here's the other thing that Reagan did that really is why we have a lot of the problems that we also have. So Reagan's policies made it possible for to basically skirt taxing. We're able to say you had a company, right? You can put your company in shell companies overseas, and those would not get taxed. He made that possible. Again, do I think that he was? There's a lot of issues with Reagan, and partially I think that was because he got vastly taken advantage of because he was suffering from early stages of Alzheimer's,
For
and
now,
so I think that a lot of people were be able to take
Did you guys
advantage of
ever
that.
see the Boondocks cartoon series?
Yes.
no.
Oh hell yeah!
The very first episode is the garden party, and he was like, Ronald Reagan was the devil, 9/11 was staged by the government, Jesus was black. And all of those things I think are probably true.
All right.
But there's also
Well,
an episode much later on where like there's a kickball game between their city and some Chinese like sister city, and it's really a big commentary on how the United States has with this relationship with China.
Mhm.
And essentially, like they bet the whole town on the end result of this kickball game, and it kind of becomes a tie. And it's this thing of like, hey, if we went to war, like everyone would just destroy each other, and then we wouldn't really have anything. So maybe we just like to fuck with each other a bit. Like I don't know, like it's weird.
yeah, Reagan also was who changed the policies on colleges. He's also the first person to really start taking funding away from colleges, which is why the buck is being passed to us. Those didn't really go into effect until Bush's era because I think Clinton, well, you had Bush
We had a
Senior and then you had
surplus.
Bush
Right up
Junior.
until up until the
They
'80s,
just-
you could basically go to California college, university for free. I mean,
Yes.
almost virtually for free.
virtually for free.
Say
My
Wong,
teacher in college, he's like, I really feel for you kids because when I went to college, I was able to get housing. I had in school housing. I had all of these things taken care of. My books, everything was paid for, all of that, and it was only $800 a semester, if that. And that was basically for the housing and for all of the other things. My schooling was
Right.
basically free. And he's like, I could pay a part-time job, or I could have a part-time job and really focus on my schooling because of that. And he goes, and you kids don't. You guys can't do that.
You know,
Right.
And it's
college
guys
should be
keep away
free.
from us.
Hey, really
Uh,
quick, I want to say to Say Wong, I am really jealous. I don't think anybody here is going to SillyCon. I know
Ain't
Ray
nobody
Parks is
got money
there.
for that.
Yeah, I know, and I know
I got no money
George
for that.
Takai, dude. What I wouldn't give, dude. I would give
Thank you.
Aaron's right nut to see George Takai.
Dude, why not your right now? Why are you putting it off on Aaron,
See
man?
how he is? Aaron's gonna start quiet
Yeah.
playing. And that's when he gets back, you know.
So yeah,
Right.
the expectation of so what I think to get this all back to quiet quitting and why this is a problem is that so you have the 80s and everybody's like work smarter not harder, right? There's all of that and it's like okay, well we're gonna
Okay.
put all the CEOs are now working smarter not harder, and so they put all of that workforce. It's just basically like it was in the turn of the revolution, the industrial revolution, in the Gilded Age. Let's put all of that work back into our workers and make them work for us. Let's make them work harder, but yet we reap the profits and they basically just get shed on. And we'll keep telling them that, hey, you're doing this for your own good. If you just work harder, you'll get into this situation too. But it's a lie. It's a huge lie. And all it's doing is making them money. So it's a problem.
It's the carrot on a string.
Right. It's the carrot on the string thing.
You gotta be quicker than that.
Yeah, and I think the basic problem, and this is where, especially like, oh, there's David right there. Sorry, David. David probably will not be like this opinion, but I think it's a basic problem with
I
capitalism
hate
in
it.
general. When when you have in a I it's one of the reasons Kyber Cave is a private sole proprietorship. I may at one point become an LLC to protect myself, but I don't see myself ever going corporate, even if I was in the position to do so. Because I think I get really scared whenever you open yourself up to stockholders and stakeholders in your company. Now your primary goal is profit bottom line over all else. And I mean, it's just like it's just a natural thing, right? Nothing can just go up and up and up and up. Look at the Marvel universe, right? Marvel did great for 21 movies and now everybody talks shit about all their properties. Nothing can always go up. Things are going to have to level out at some point. Look at Disney. Disney's buying up all of these corporations and now, they're taking heat. There's no business that year after year after year can constantly make more and more profits without at some point having to cut other places. And that typically starts with employees and wages.
Well, yeah, they think that that's going to somehow cut into that and get their profits, but what they're doing is really just cutting themselves from underward. And this is another thing. FDR made it so FDR, one of FDR policies in the New Deal was keeping monopolies out. And so what you're seeing now, because of the degradation of those policies, I don't think they renewed the
Basically
New Deal
monopoly.
policies.
There's
Now
like
everything's
five numbers there.
monopoly again, and now we're going right back to what got us in trouble with the Great Depression, except it's going to be even worse.
History repeats itself? Never. Except every 8
Mhm.
years. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Well, I honestly say, and it's funny that you
No,
mentioned that every 8 years. I actually think it's a little bit longer, but I
longer. But
Every
I
80 years,
oh,
we go
80
through a
years?
cycle. Yes, there's a
Yeah.
video I watched about this that human history repeats itself in blocks of 80 years. And right now we are in that final stage of like the downward swing. So yeah, shit's about to hit the fan. It's gonna get
Mhm.
real. And unfortunately, that's what brings people together to actually unite on something that isn't stupid, and get to a point where we can actually achieve something. And then we go back into the cycle of, hey, look, we have all of this new growth, and hey, we have all of this prosperity. So by the time I'm like 60, life's going to be great again. But until then, I think the next 10 years is going to be rough.
So then
If we
let me ask everybody a question. Bringing it
Mhm.
all the way back to quiet quitting.
Right.
We got off topic. What? Never.
that never
Okay.
happens here.
Well, yeah, I was trying to
Is-
get it back to the reason why quiet. I mean, I was trying to bring it back to the quiet quitting thing.
Whoa,
Is-
shut up.
Is the quiet quitting going to be beneficial for the average worker? Is it going to?
No.
Is it?
No,
Are they
this is-
gonna
No,
figure
but
it? Are the
it's
bosses
starting-
gonna figure
it's
it
starting
out?
The statement,
Or no?
It's starting the statement that people are getting tired of this bullshit. That if you have like a mediocre job, that you're just not allowed to survive. You're not allowed to buy a house. You're not able to afford a car. You can't even fucking go to the doctor because you have to choose between, do I pay my electric bill or do I go see a physician? So it's going to get to a point where the disparity of the masses is going to be the outspoken voice. That's where Bernie Sanders was like really awesome as a candidate, because it's like, look, the billionaires and trillionaires need to start paying their fair share. You don't need all that money. I could take 2/3 of Jeff Bezos' money and he'll still be richer than anybody else. Like, make that money pay for the shit that we need, fix our fucking streets, make our schools free, give people the ability to buy affordable housing, and fix some shit. I don't know how to get these other like assholes out of politics. Like, literally, if like 2/3 of Congress fucking passed away from like a stroke, that I think that'd be great, because most of them are ancient dinosaurs that bought their house for $30,000 fucking dollars.
I've
And
been
then
asking
they're
the
like, why can't
question.
you do that? Anyways, keep going. Go ahead.
I've been asking the question for 25 years. Does a basketball player really need $11 million to play for 4 years? Really? Really?
Well, and that's just it. Why is that worth that? And me trying to just, go and have an honest living, like just doing a job. Oh, well, you don't deserve that. You're nothing special. That's what that tells us. You're nothing special because you're working a mediocre job. So you deserve your poverty. You deserve to have the bare minimum. You shouldn't have to, be able to live in something that isn't cockroach infested or has a slumlord for a landlord. Like you don't deserve that because you work here. Like that's the condescending nature of it. Where like, what the fuck? Why is it that it's not like these are again jobs that teenagers are possessing? I've seen one woman work at the same Jack in the Box for 20 fucking years, and I'm guessing still makes the same amount of money.
Do I think that they deserve the millions of dollars? No, but do I think that they deserve some compensation? Yes, because they do. They are
They're talented.
Because these are not even just that, but they work immensely hard. Like creatives, for instance, they never get a day off. I never have a day off. Even if I'm at home, I'm never ever having a day off. That just doesn't. That isn't the same thing. I'm sure all of you can understand this as a creative standpoint. To produce what we do, we are always constantly training. You have to go anywhere as a creative, as somebody who's an athlete. There is constant training that's involved. You're working almost every day, right? Exactly. And that is the reason why I would say that to a point, yes, I think they should be compensated fairly. Millions of dollars, no, but enough to where they get that compensation. Yes, and that is true, Sewang. He said, and many athletes go broke. So do musicians. So do the actual people on the bottom, the creatives. The ones
so does everybody else.
So what does this have to do with
Because people will start living above their needs or above their means.
Not.
I think
that's a myth. It's a myth. because a lot of TLC.
There's a lot of band TLC. When you give young
they
people
actually
access to a lot of money,
one at a time.
Frivolous things. Which was one of the other things I think we were going to talk about, right?
Hold on, Aubrey's still talking.
Segue? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Aubrey's still talking.
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you guys remember the band TLC?
Mm-hmm.
They ended up having to file for bankruptcy because all the money that got made by them, they saw none of it.
Right.
They were utterly screwed over. And that's typical for a lot of musician creative people. And you see these people making millions of dollars. They don't see a penny of it.
Nope.
Almost none of them.
Okay, so you're talking about different things.
It's not.
Wait,
no, it's
on.
Not. It's the same exact thing.
It's not. Well, let me tell you why it's not the same thing. Because you were comparing people who are getting screwed over by their contracts and making $60,000 a year between three people while they're the number one charting artist in the country for several weeks in a row, with somebody who is actually getting $11 million to go and play a game of basketball or a game of football. And when it comes to do they deserve it, the one thing that I think that nobody here is considering is that if I, as a team owner, if I own the 49ers and I'm going to pay a particular athlete $10 million, I guarantee you that $10 million is nothing compared to what I'm actually bringing in.
Oh, well, no,
but that was the point. That was what I was really trying to say.
The people that are making that happen, like we bitch about like how much they're worth. Like, are actors really worth this amount of money? But the people that are making that amount of money are us, are the consumers. If we weren't going to the movies, if we weren't buying the jerseys and buying the hats and all these things, those people wouldn't be making that amount of money. So it almost has to do with the cultural priority.
Then it has to do with smart contracting. That's really what you're basically saying, and people who don't understand the contracting generally get screwed.
And unfortunately, the music industry is not run by musicians. The music industry is run by lawyers.
Yeah.
Corporates. It's corporates. A lot of it's corporate people.
Same.
And the same with acting.
Like
and
5 artists. If you played them all back to back, I couldn't tell you which one was which unless I actually knew that they sang that song.
And guaranteed, none of them got to the position that they're at to make that much money because they were quiet quitting.
But they were also mostly rich. Like a lot of those people went to really expensive schools or had families that had a lot of wealth. There's not a lot of like rags to riches moments in the music industry, especially today. It's like kind of like Disney.
Actually, there are a lot of rags to riches. Haven't you seen the Island Boys? Those fucking motherfuckers. They look like goddamn Bart Simpson. Yeah, the Island Boys. All these people that you were talking about. that blow up on
Teenage-
TikTok.
Teenage
But that's a
sideshow
myth,
boss.
though.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Ariana Grande definitely didn't come from nothing. She came from a very wealthy family. Same thing.
Yeah, you go and look at these people that are rags to riches. A lot of them already had had a lot. Not all. I'm not saying all of them do, but
Not
a
all,
lot
but
of them.
There's a
You
lot of
have
people
families that
in
supported them.
sports.
that helped supported them. So it's wealth inequality is a big factor in
Yes.
this. It is so hard to get out of the lower class because the steps just aren't there unless you have the cash to get there. Like, you need to get a piece of paper, you need to go to school. That costs a lot of money. And now all of a sudden there's all these loans. All these loan sharks have this ridiculous interest that what you borrow, you're going to pay 10 times that by the time you're actually done. And that's just wrong. That is just so overbearingly wrong to think that, oh, well, you could just easily get somewhere else, by working hard. That's the whole
That's
point.
because congressmen pass laws that allow
Anthony.
those
Anthony,
companies to
Segue.
exist.
did you just steal my segue?
Did I?
Did you just steal my
I
segue?
I feel like I'm
You're,
also
dude,
good
you're a
segue
bitch.
This is Pirate Game After Dark. Watch as I steal the whole thunder.
Hey, I do want to say I like this comment that Brigitte has. Today, there are more opportunities for the average person to succeed than in the last 100 years. The working class is always screwed, but today, if you want to start posting on TikTok, you can rise out of poverty. Interesting times.
Maybe.
Maybe, and a lot of that's a myth.
Maybe.
It's a myth.
Um,
Social. Let me tell you, the
It's a
social
crapshoot.
network really. It's a crapshoot, but not
It's a
only that, but a
crapshoot.
lot of people often appear to be more wealthy than they are.
I'm not saying that. What they're saying
Image.
is that a person has, but they have more opportunity. I'll
Yes.
tell you right now,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier right now. If I wanted to be a recording artist, I can buy a computer. I can set up like a little mini lab in my closet. Whereas, back in the day, you had to go to a professional studio. It was the only way to get the quality sound. But as technology advances,
you don't have time to do those things.
And a lot of people do take shortcuts. They now have packages where you can buy, I guess, chord structures, which is just blows my mind. That people are like trying to use as saying, well, this is my chord structure, you need to use it. And it's like, dude, this has been happening for the last 500 years. What makes you have the rights to it? It doesn't make any sense. But people can take these packages and make music and pass it off. It's such
again, that's somebody else making money off of somebody else, right? Something they couldn't have done without the internet and without other people 20 years ago. So I do agree. There are more opportunities. There are more things that we have to do, but the cards are stacked against us. It's not like everybody can just go and, start their own record label or start their own YouTube page.
Essentially, you can try to make viral content, but it's such a crapshoot of what is going to perk somebody's interest.
Yeah.
Hey man, I've been sitting here talking to a camera every night for 2 years.
But I love these comments.
We got 20 more.
Where are my millions? Damn it!
Well, you know what some of those don't have in common is that that doesn't necessarily require a garbage degree at a university that you're going to spend the rest of your life paying off.
Ark, you just gotta undo your shirt a little bit. That's all.
I'm trying to steal my segue back.
A little more.
And by the way, Anthony, I apologize for that comment I made a few minutes ago. I was just trying to make a joke.
No, I know. I took no offense.
Okay, just
I
making sure.
mean, I'm so happy I have my degree. It's
yeah. Oh, and I was gonna say there was a
I've
comment
never gone to college at all.
There was a comment that Fours made. I don't remember on what show. Like all these shows kind of bleed together, but he was talking about. We were talking about Florida, and he said that there was a particular job, and he's not here for this segment. He was saying that there was a job that before the pandemic was saying that you needed a master's degree, and then after the pandemic, they were just trying to get any warm body they could get in there, and then it's like, what was the what was the point of the degree in the first place? Oh, of course, that's exactly how it works.
I really love my degree too. Am I unhappy with the amount that I owe? Oh yeah, but
yes.
did it open so many doors for me over the years? Yes, it prepared me for life. Like I feel like I'm better prepared than I am than my contemporaries who didn't go. Where they're like, they are the flipping burgers and they are struggling to get a good job. Where my job, the amount that I've gotten paid has been significantly higher than they've ever gotten because I have a degree to show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got all this just because, I mean, for nothing else, I'm glad I have the education so I can make better choices and understand what's going on with the government, understand how these things work to make really educated and choices. Like me knowing a lot of that stuff. I mean, yes, they teach quite a bit of it in high school, but a lot of the stuff that I learned about like government and even more than that, like history and all that, I learned going to college. That is, and of course, and a lot of, among other things, but it really taught me how to critically think. Going to college is invaluable because it really teaches critical thinking. And that's what a lot of
went
things
for
are
an
missing.
associate's degree, but it still felt like high school, the sequel. Like if it wasn't something that I was looking to do as a career, why the fuck do I have to take geography? Like it was one of those things of the requirements needed just to get the associate's degree, which is basically worthless. That is the level of a high school diploma in my mind. I had to take all these classes over. Like I got an A in algebra, and they still made me, because I got a 2 out of 3 on their registration test, I have to retake algebra. And my teacher even was like, "Why are you in this class? You know algebra." I'm like, "I don't know. Your system's fucked up and broken and wants me to pay for this shit." So I mean,
When did you go to college to get your?
I went after the recession that started in like 2003, 2004, like all of that thing with the Bush era after 9/11. Like that's what hit us hard. Is that I had gas prices, driving a stupid ass big ass car, because that was the one my mom felt I was safe in. We didn't have a lot of job options back then. There was this huge hit to the housing market. Like my mom bought her house at the height of the market and then instantly went underwater within like the span of a year. So like fucked her over hardcore. And then I'm over here. I can't afford college. They won't give me any kind of grants because my mom makes too much money, but she's not paying for my college. And that's the thing that was really frustrating, is I really could not find any sort of source to help me navigate anything. If you went to a guidance counselor, it'd be like, "Here's your brochure, look this up." No help. No one wanted to show me how to fish in this thing. So college was not a very great environment for me. I did make some good friends. I took some good classes. I did a lot of dance. I did a lot of theater. Like I was trying to go for a tech theater degree, and I got fucked over because they switched the curriculum halfway through, and I ended up doing costumes and sets twice for 1A and 1B. And the only one that makes money is the lights and sound, which is what I got screwed on. I didn't get to take lights and sound.
Yeah, no, I completely understand.
Are we officially into this other topic?
I don't know.
Because if we are, we probably ought to change the topic banner, huh?
Well, we're not, because we're not talking about the other topic.
Okay.
What are we talking about, man? Please segue.
Student loans is not the other topic. That's not the other topic.
We kind of are talking about the other topic already. Oh, what is the other topic?
Yeah.
What is the other topic?
Well, why don't we, Mr. Moderator? Why don't you moderate?
Read the banner, goddammit.
So our light topic for the night.
Light topic?
Yeah, we went backwards tonight. Yeah,
we went backwards.
Quiet quitting is not a light topic. I mean, I didn't even really talk about that. I was too busy talking about like
other things.
History.
Oh no.
Well, I was talking history. I mean, of course, it goes back to the quiet quitting idea, but it's a lot of the history that's involved with why the world is the state it is.
Normally, we have our dessert before dinner, and now we're having our dinner before dessert.
Yeah, I know, right?
So the quiet quitting.
I wasn't sure why we went out of order, but we just jumped right into quiet quitting.
Something so inappropriate for that.
Do it.
Oh, having dessert before dinner and dinner before dessert. Who doesn't like to eat twice?
Well, I mean, what about second breakfast? I don't like second breakfast.
11sies? I'm all for 11sies.
Yeah.
I call those nooners.
And then supper. Nooners. I mean, you have dinner, then supper, and then
Al
dessert.
Bundy.
Oh my god.
All right, so our second topic for the night, which truthfully is our light topic, is recasting. We
I love recasting
recasting
actors.
actors.
Interesting. Okay.
We
So
can even go
Shit,
into the fact
that's
that
not what we had in the chat earlier. I
No,
could have
it's
come up with a
not.
better
I brought
segue
it
for
up.
that.
I brought it up. I
It's
said
okay.
I
It's all
said
good.
Okay.
It's all right.
throw
I've
that out
been
there.
You need to be
relearning how to do
recasted.
recording the last couple of days.
All
So
right. So
You didn't make a note.
recasting.
You got to be recasted now,
Oh wow.
officially.
Okay.
Actually,
Officially.
Van's been recasted.
Mhm.
apparently.
Oh, sorry.
I've been
on it.
recasted.
You've been recasted. Now Forrest has the
Yeah.
job.
That's Arc now.
Yeah.
We are
that way.
training.
He's Arc
Uh,
Force.
All
Arc
right.
Force.
So here we.
Oh, that's actually a cool
All right.
name.
For the love of God, let me talk. Get out of my screen. All right, recasting actors. So this can go one of a couple of ways. Number one, you're watching somebody on a series or a movie. Let's talk Batman. Okay, Batman's a great one. So Katie Holmes was in the first Batman, right? And then Dark Knight came in. Dark Knight Returns. They casted somebody else.
Randy Gyllenhaal.
Sometimes that's not very well received. Other times it is very well received. I can remember back in the 90s, this is just my little rant. I had a couple of animes that I watched religiously, and like right in the dead center of it, one of my favorite characters would get their voice recasted by somebody else. And it was just the most horrible freaking thing to me because honestly to me, and this is bad, okay, this is just bad. I wasn't looking for the actor or the voice actor who fit the character, which obviously is what these people were hired for. I was looking for somebody who could perfectly impersonate the previous person who did it. And in a lot of cases, I feel like I'm right to ask for that. Case in point, let's take the Solo movie from Star Wars. There was a guy on not TikTok. There was a guy on YouTube who looked exactly like Harrison Ford, sounded exactly like Harrison Ford, did the parts, in the cantina just like Harrison Ford, and yet, this dude had millions of views, and yet he wasn't cast for the part. That to me is a crime. It's just a crime.
Did he
Did
audition?
he? Yeah. Did he audition?
I don't know, but bear in mind, we live in a time where you can put yourself on social media and you don't have to knock on doors. Your door gets knocked on.
That's why it's crapshoot.
I'm going to call bullshit on that one.
Yeah.
Not all the time. Not all the time, but
okay.
it does
Name me
happen.
a YouTube star that actually has been on a big screen.
A YouTube star that's been on a big screen.
That's
There's
made the
a couple that were in
breakthrough
the
from
video
YouTube
movie.
to big screen. I think is what Aubrey's trying to say, right?
So by big screen, do you
I was
mean
gonna say, yeah. There's
television?
been several YouTubers that have
No,
been on the big screen,
movies.
including like the example that I always use. Justin Bieber got his start on YouTube. That's how
There
he
was-
got
He did.
recognized, was through
He did.
YouTube.
I
and
thought
a
he
talking
lot
got
about
his
actors.
start from American Idol.
He was on American Idol as well, but he was singing his songs on his YouTube channel. And
Harry Styles on American Idol was kind of bad. I'm surprised that he got famous.
You never
Can-
know.
Can
but,
they
okay.
play, Aubrey? Can they play their same roles? Like, for example, like let's say, my wife and I watched this really terrible movie the other night. It was about this a group of ladies who were going to a college, and it was a gaming college, right? And at some point in the movie, they brought this very, very large group of Twitch streamers and YouTubers on, and they were, their part in the movie was to comment on this fictitious group of gamers. Does that count? Because they made their way from
no.
YouTube onto the big screen.
No, I mean actually acting and playing characters and being like
You mean-
considered A-list actors.
Yeah, becoming mainstream success.
Because from what I've seen, legacy media, which is what I'm hearing that a lot of people on YouTube are calling media, that they don't necessarily like YouTube. People who got famous on YouTube. It helps with your job if you have a YouTube present. It helps, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a part in a movie.
okay,
No
I
guarantees.
have two examples right away that I can think of. One being a Lucasfilm, and the other being an incredible movie that I was talking about that I hope that you guys have seen by now. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. The
Seen
Michelle
it.
Yeoh movie.
Not
If
yet.
you guys have or have not seen it, there's okay.
I
There's
have
a
it in my
very
queue waiting to watch, but
all right. I'll not give things away. There's a very memorable fight scene. Let's just say that it is one that people talk about after the movie. And there's many fight scenes, but this one I guarantee will be the one you talk about later. The two guys that are fighting Michelle Yeoh in that fight scene actually have a YouTube channel, and their whole thing is they would watch movies and analyze fights and break it down, and they would do martial arts. And what's up, Crystal? They would, they would analyze scenes and they would recreate things. They got hired on because of their experience and how cool and how famous they were on YouTube. They got hired on as the stunt coordinators, but they were also had acting and speaking roles in this. The other interesting one that came from YouTube, although it's not somebody you see, but do you guys remember the first season of The Mandalorian? Or was it season 2 where they had the deep fake with Luke Skywalker,
Yes.
and like the very next night there was like some YouTuber who had like shown how he could do it better, and Lucasfilm reached out to him and hired him, and that's why the next season of Mandalorian, when we saw him again with the Ahsoka and Grogu, people weren't bitching and complaining as much about how the CGI looked off. But
Yeah.
this was a guy that came from YouTube, and he was like, "Hey, let me show you how I can do it." And Lucasfilm reached out and was like, "Let's hire the dude."
I think they had a golden opportunity right there to recast Luke Skywalker with Sebastian Stan, and I think they could have pulled it off.
Not without
Well,
special thanks.
I
this
don't
is
know
the
what that
is.
recasting. How would you feel about that, Force?
What with Stan being in there?
Right.
You know, I always go back to Robert Downey Jr. I always go back to that because if you remember that scene where they made him into his 80s self and they did it absolutely without flaw, why can they not do this with Luke? I always go back to that. Disney has every avenue. Like if Marvel can do it, Star Wars can do it, and yet they
Marvel
don't
is
do it.
Disney too, so I mean,
Exactly. So if they can make Robert Downey Jr. perfectly 24 years old again, why can't they make Mark Hamill perfectly 24 years old again? And they still haven't done it. Still.
probably
Like,
just depends a
well,
lot
we-
on how much money they feel like investing into a certain scene.
also
Well,
I don't
the
know the
actors
problem.
sounded interested. Like,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like maybe Mark Hamill didn't want the role. Like it's really what is the background circumstances of recasting? Some people are like, no, I don't want to do that again, or no, pay me more, and they're like, well, no, I'm not going to do
Mark
that.
Hamill was on the set. In fact, Mark Hamill for the Ahsoka scenes, that's actually his body that they CGI'd the other face. I'm sorry, it wasn't his body, but he was giving body direction to the younger actor who was impersonating. So he was showing him what Luke would have done. Which I
and
think is
it was
kinda-
his voice too.
Let me
so.
let me throw this disclaimer up there on Stan as well, and this is going to make people mad, but I don't care. That whole thing with Stan is a meme. That's all it was. Somebody who thought they were clever would take a picture of Mark Hamill and a picture of Sebastian Stan. But here's what most people don't realize: that picture of Sebastian Stan is heavily doctored. It is heavily photoshopped. That is not his real hair. A lot of wrinkles were removed. A lot of facial features were, doctored up. Oh, what did we talk about last week, kids? Filtering.
Filters.
And it was filtered. It was doctored. It was photoshopped. And everyone's like, oh my God, Sebastian Stan would be the perfect. Like, shut up. No, he would not. Because if you take an actual picture of him, put it next to young Mark Hamill, they look very, very dissimilar.
Yeah,
And this
I'm
whole
looking at him
thing
now.
came from one singular meme, and it blew completely out of control. Sorry if you think I'm wrong, but that's exactly how it went down. So no, I don't believe Stan would make a good Luke Skywalker. Period.
And there, right. I agree with you, Forrest. There's a lot of things that go behind when you are being casted in a role. a lot. You can there's a lot of reason why casters also get recasted. Like you could do well in audition, but when you go into work and to do these parts and do these things can come up that you're not prepared for. Sometimes actors come into set and they haven't prepared. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. A lot of times there are contracts that are in the way. Sometimes they don't want to come back to a role just because shit happened on set and it was really traumatizing for them. There's a lot of reasons why this happened. A really good example of for recasting when Terry Farrell, had to renegotiate her contract with Rick Berman, and Rick Berman is a piece of garbage. And and he was like, he felt personally betrayed because she got offered for a role in Cheers, even though she was offered that role. And he was like, no, one will hire you if you don't take this contract. And so she's like, well, I got an offer from Cheers. And they're like, well, he's like, fine, just leave, and took it as a personal affront, and then recasted the actress who played Ezra, whose name I can't remember at the moment, Ezri Dax, and then just killed off her character without even asking, without even, and it was like, I was willing to contract with you, dude. Like she even says later, she's like, I was willing to play ball. I just want to get paid the same as the men actors. Like that's
was it Ezri or was it Jadzia?
Jadzia was Terry Farrell, and then she got replaced with Ezri.
Yeah.
And it was because freaking Rick Berman had a huge like conniption fit because he's a misogynistic piece of crap. That's
There's
really what it
all
was.
kinds of reasons why people would be recast. I actually have an interesting thought on this. I was just thinking about this when you're talking about recasting, and Forrest is obviously very passionate about who he has playing other characters. But what about this? Okay, so if I sign, let's say I was lucky enough to sign a contract with Lucasfilm and I become a Star Wars character, right? Lucasfilm now owns the my likeness. In fact, Carrie Fisher had a joke, something about every time she looked in the mirror, she owed George Lucas $1. But so
no, she said every time she looked at herself in the mirror in the naked, she owed him $1.
Yeah. So the point of the matter is, we saw what they did in Rogue One, where they redid Grand Moff Tarkin and Carrie Fisher. If Disney owns the rights to their likenesses, does that mean when all these actors die, they could just keep having, because the technology is going to get better and better, right? Mm-hmm. So eventually the technology is going to get to the point probably where if there's an actor it actually, they already did it with like Michael Jackson and like holograms and shit on stage. They've done it with, God, what was her, Natalie, the singer, Natalie, whatever her song, oh God.
Is Aaron trying to get back in?
Who?
Oh,
Aaron,
David. Sorry, David.
They did that with
Natalie with her father, where that's how Nat you King are. Cole. Yes, exactly. And they did the video and matched it up, and so what I'm saying
Mercury, is they've done it with oh my God.
Well, they've done it with the point of the matter. They've done it with a ton of people. So like, do they have the right to do that? Should they keep doing that to keep a character alive, or is that disrespectful to the person who's now deceased, that they're just making money off of this character that this person helped bring to life? Or did that person sign that all away when they decided, yeah, I want to be in a Star Wars movie?
Well, I think really what it comes down to is storytelling, though. Like, is it necessary to keep this character constantly and forever because, well, that was the main character? Like, you can always bring in new characters, and this is another form of recasting that we see. Like, what was it, Batwoman? Season 1, we had Ruby Rose, and then she did not like her experience working there. She's like, I'm not doing this role anymore. Mm-hmm. And so they literally had to like write out her character and then completely recast it and change the entire story. And it still kind of just fell apart. Like,
well, Marvel did it with Rhodey. Well, War Machine, right, was Terrence
Dumbledore, and I didn't like either of them.
You know why Dumbledore was recast? Because the original actor died.
No, I know.
Right. Which is understandable.
I still don't think that was either of those. Yeah. It was a really tired, Dumbledore. And then there was a very angry one. Like, then that was never his character. He was a very congenial, happy person that was like, hi there. Or at least that's my take from it. I was like, I never saw him written in that way in either sense.
I think
Bad casting.
I think what we can take from this is that, at least my point of it, is that sometimes when someone is cast the first time, a character is cast the first time and it's done right, and you enjoy this character for a number of seasons or a number of movies, and then they have to, for whatever reason, they have to cast somebody else. Should that somebody else be closer to the actor who originally played them, or the writer's idea of what the character should be?
I prefer the latter.
I think it depends on the story.
Different Batman movies.
I was gonna say, look at all the Batman movies, right? Or
Some of them are great. Some of them suck.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I think a big thing is for me in any case. I think without an explanation, that's at least at least with DS9, at least there's an explanation why Ezri is suddenly on screen instead of Jadzia. At least, but there are cases where they recast a character and they acted like nothing happened. That happened in I Dream of Jeannie. Like the character of Darren was recasted and no one made any mention of it.
Bewitched.
Nothing. No one commented. It was a Bewitched.
It happened on a few shows in the 80s.
Yeah, it's happened in a few shows, right? Suddenly and also we all forget about Edward Norton, who was originally the Hulk. And then he got basically kicked off, and then Mark
he was
Ruffalo
awesome as the Hulk.
There was a
I
guy
love
before
Mark
him.
Ruffalo too.
Yeah,
But
there was a guy
yeah,
before
he's
him, wasn't there?
Eric Bana.
Yes, and then there was
That
Eric
movie was
Bana.
terrible, though.
Eric
That
Bana.
movie was terrible. I felt
Which
He's
one?
pretty
The Daddy Issues Hulk?
Oh, God.
yes, the one that was the
He looked like,
director.
and there's also the Punisher. The Punisher's been cast 3 times.
And there was one correct one.
Yes.
Sometimes
For the
it
series,
works.
he was fantastic.
Sometimes
That guy was
it
born
works,
for that role.
but a lot of times it doesn't.
Right.
A lot of times it doesn't. Here, I'll give you one of my super nerdy examples. All right, one of my very favorite series of all time is Ranma 1/2. All right,
Sure.
Guy type Ranma was played by a Canadian voice actress named Sarah Strange. Sarah Strange did Ranma for 4 straight seasons, and she was able to take her voice deep enough to really sound like an end of puberty guy, like a 13, 14-year-old boy, which is what Ranma was at the time. And like right at season 4, they casted this like 28, 29-year-old dude to play him, and everything about it was completely off. All of it. The mannerisms were off. Hell, even the stuff he was saying was off. That is terrible,
Well, I think with an animated
terrible
character,
recasting.
that's what makes a difference, right? Like if it's an animated show, like if they were somehow to recast somebody from The Simpsons as one of the main characters, like it better be a spot on kind of impersonation. Otherwise, what's the point of the character?
Well, they did that. They did that with the Genie.
Family Guy.
Yeah, freaking, if you're going to have Homer Simpson
in the
recast,
yeah.
then you damn well better find somebody who sounds just like him. Because if you don't, it's not going to work. It's the same thing with freaking Peter Griffin. If you can't, I can't even do it.
But they did that with Lois though in Family Guy.
Meg.
Alex Bornstein.
They did it with Lois and Meg, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, and Meg as well. Yeah, because what's her name?
Brittany,
who was on
Brittany
the
Murphy
70s
died, I
show.
think. Sorry, no.
Mila
Kunis.
Kunis.
took over for some other gal who
Mila
left.
Kunis took it over for.
Say Wong gets it.
I can't remember who it was.
Well,
I think you're right. I think it was Brittany Murphy, wasn't it? Originally.
No, it was some other girl because they brought her back for a cameo of like this was the Meg's
The
original.
character was recast.
The one Brittany Murphy
Multiverse
played
Meg.
and,
Didn't she play one of Brian's girlfriends, Brittany Murphy?
Maybe that one, yes. I believe that one would be true.
Yeah,
Right.
and unfortunately, she died. She passed away.
But Alex Bornstein, who was famous from Mad TV, I loved her. She was the
She was Lois.
he looked like the men. He looked like the men.
Yeah.
Like a man.
Swan, Miss Swan was her character. That's the voice of Lois.
Yeah.
The second Lois. I don't remember who the first Lois
There was a first Lois. I always thought it was Alex Bornstein.
I believe there was a first Lois and a first Meg, right? Am I
thought it
wrong?
was just Meg. I thought it was just Meg. I'm gonna
Man, now I'm doubting myself.
Mandela effect. Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Go ahead, Aubrey.
Yeah.
I can look it up. I'll look it up right now.
Voice.
Doing it
It's
right
just
now.
funny. I think about
Don't
voice
take me off
actors
the
and I
screen
think
this
about
time.
how a
Put
lot
me
of
back in when I come back.
like
Go
just
ahead,
some of
Aubrey.
the recasting that was awful. Like I think of like how miscast them, and you wish that they were recasted because God, the casting is so bad. I think about that every time I see Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm like, oh, why'd they cast that voice actor in his role?
It's always been Alex Borstein.
And you know what, honey? This is the reason why I want to go back
Why?
and do fan dubs, because number one, I really believe I can do it better, and number two, it just needs to be done. So, and that's why I was talking about the little project that we were wanting to
So
start.
it's really
because-
funny because the voice actor they got for
Meg.
Yusuke, no, for Yusuke was great. I loved Yusuke, and I think they actually recast him, and the voice actor was worse. But the original Yusuke. Oh, so so the first one I saw for Yu Yu Hakusho was the movie, Yu Yu Hakusho the movie, and they had an original. Everyone was casted, and they had the voice of Kuwabara was the best. Like I was like, I really believe it. No,
Okay.
no, it was not. It was
No.
not him. He was a
No.
dude. The guy
That's-
sounded like a freaking badass, and he was
Okay.
a badass.
Yeah, I
That guy
remember the
sounds
movie.
constipated.
No, the new one is Chris Sabat from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I know.
That's
and
who's
Vegeta's,
playing it.
I hate the casting for Dragon Ball Z.
Kakarot. So,
No,
Okay,
I hate
so-
it. It's awful. It's awful. Please stop. He always sounds
No,
like
but-
he needs to go take a
But
shit.
look,
I'm
there-
sorry.
but,
It's awful.
but to your point, there are just some roles that are played so incredibly well the first time around. You've got to find an impressionist who can do
Or
the
someone who
same
could do it-
Mark
voice.
Hamill's
Right.
Joker.
You'll never find another.
You'll never
Joker.
find another Joker. Not like that. No.
You'll
That's
never
a one.
find
That's
him.
a one of a kind. Everyone's just doing cheap imitations. I don't want cheap imitations. If you're gonna do a character, right? I mean, Kermit the Frog, right? I agree, Matt. There are a lot of people, and Mickey Mouse. There's been a lot of people who do Mickey Mouse
Sure.
over the years.
People
and
die.
But
they're
I mean,
great.
like,
They've been
who would-
around for a long
I mean,
time.
where are you going to find another Master Roshi? I mean, that voice is so incredibly well done, and I love it. And I can do it, but that's beside the point. It's just,
I mean,
finding those voices that are like so obscure and so well played, and then for someone to, and then you can't replace that with just like your commonplace regular guy voice, or regular female voice. You can't. You gotta be able to stay, number one, stay true to the character and what the writer's original idea for it was, but also stay true to the formula that has worked up to this point. Damn, I'm passionate about this stuff.
well,
David,
so
what did
I
you-
mean,
wait, hold on, David. What did you want to say?
I was just gonna say I looked up the voices for Meg Griffin.
Oh,
So
okay.
the original voice was Rachel McFarlane. She did the pilot, and then Lacey Chabert played Meg, and then it was Mia Kunis.
oh, so there's three. Wow.
There's
But
three.
Alex Borstein's been Lois the entire time.
Oh, you want me to look up Lois? I'm gonna
I
look
looked
Lois.
that up. I was like, original voice actor for Lois Griffin. It's Alex Borstein.
Is
Unless
it? Is
it's been
Okay.
did you
replaced
look it up?
with recently, I don't know of her not voicing her.
So,
I again, I could be wrong.
So a good
And
point.
Ella
Someone said for Sailor Moon, yeah, in the original Sabai version,
The original
Saban
Japanese voice.
version. Yeah, they were talking about that, about a lot of those, but and there's a lot. My brain is like pinging just because ADHD. Woo! But Sailor Moon, the original in American dub, so for the first episode was a completely different voice, and then they replaced her in the second episode. Yes, and then later in Sailor Moon S, they also replaced her again.
And she was awful.
She was awful. She was so bad.
The second one was the best. The
Yes,
second one was the best.
She was great. That's who I
Apparently,
remember. She's the most iconic. But
Jerry-
I'll take the Japanese version every
Of
time.
course
But
you
anyways,
will.
of course I will.
Apparently, Jerry's dad in Seinfeld was replaced.
Mhm, he was.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
Topanga's parents from Boy Meets World that was like a super harsh shift, because Topanga's dad was this crazy, like, Beatles level folklore singer guitar player, and then like in the second to last season, he was just this bum from Denver. Like, how do you do that?
Another fun fact
It's
from
revolved
yeah,
around
how do you do that? I don't
stuff
know.
like-
Also for you Sailor Moon fans, the in the Japanese version, the voice actor who plays Sailor Uranus is also the same voice actor who plays Rurouni Kenshin, and she plays actually a lot of
I'll tell
masculine figures
I'll
in
tell you
anime.
what. It's still talked about in anime today. The biggest crime that ever happened in anime since Go was taking Veronica Taylor off of Ash Ketchum. That right there was quite literally the worst recasting that's ever happened.
I mean, there's some pretty bad ones. Also, I mean,
animes that just go on for decades. Like,
oh yeah, I
I
mean
don't
that's
watch
One
true.
anime,
Piece.
so I can't really.
One Piece is at 1058.
Okay, when will it
Haven't
ever
watched
just
One
end
Piece.
already? One thing I will say that's really cool is when Dragon Ball Kai came back around, all of the original voice actors did come back and revoice all of their acting for Dragon Ball Kai in
And I'm
Japanese
guessing there was a
cast.
tournament where somebody they already beat came back and they fought him again. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
Nah.
that's the wash rinse repeat of Dragon Ball. Like it's the same formula no matter what series I go into. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna lose, and then you're somehow gonna come back because that just happens all the time. So
And
cool.
don't forget, we're going to take
Sorta.
2 episodes to explain a backstory while
Yes.
we're powering up.
Yes.
What about Aunt Viv from?
That's why Dragon Ball Kai is so
I'm
great. They took a lot of that out. They took a
And-
lot of that out in Dragon Ball Kai.
And
Just
yes,
saying.
Aunt Vivian.
Yeah,
Yes.
Fresh
But
Prince.
that was
That
a
was-
tragic story
Yeah,
in and
that
of
was
itself.
Maxine's drama between her and Will Smith.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
that
was
bad
huge.
stuff.
She said, "I will never work. I will never do anything with an asshole like Will Smith again." Back when he
Wow.
was well loved, like he's trashed
Did-
on now.
Did
But-
you watch the Fresh Prince reunion on HBO Max where she and he had
Is it bad?
had that time together? Yeah,
Yeah,
go
that was
watch that.
intense. That was intense.
I mean, I've seen some of that. They have some of that in so more tales of how Rick Rubin is a utter awful human being. So you know the guy that plays Goldie Cut, right? In Deep Space Nine. Space Nine, the guy, he had so many people uncomfortable with him on set. He would do things apparently to a lot of the female actors. Like apparently the actor and they talk about it in the reunion show that they have where it's I think it's called Beyond DS9 or it's I'm trying to remember what it's, but anyways, there was a lot of complaints about his behavior. Rick Berman ignored them all, but of course, you have one someone he doesn't like have one complaint. It's pretty bad. I hate that man. I really do. I hear about it like Denise Cosby. I've heard hers. Her or Denise Crosby rather. Her tales about it. Him being an utter utter piece of shit to her. Will Wheaton has talked about repeatedly about his treatment.
Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
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 The
Jared
boy.
Leto
The
had
boy
the
can talk
same
about
same
it.
reputation on Suicide Squad, but that was supposedly him getting all method.
Again,
That's just a shit
another
joker.
piece of
That's all
shit,
that is.
human being. I mean, from what I've heard, I'm sorry,
That's
you
a
can
bit
method act all
harsh.
you want.
Jesus. Yeah.
You can method act all you want, but don't be a piece of shit human being. Just don't. Do it on set.
Well, again, that's part of being an actor is that you're able to slip into that whenever you want to. Like that's a good actor. The method
Right.
actors that have to keep it all like you're just being facetious and stupid and stop.
I mean, yeah.
Denzel
I-
Washington.
Go to bed. Are you
always
still
in
that character? Like, are you still in that makeup? Like, no, just stop. You're stupid.
I mean, it's fine if you're on the set and you're like, please just keep calling me this just keep kind of
Well, yeah,
straight.
you're-
I understand that. That's
Sure,
fine.
that's one thing.
Even between takes, that's fine. But outside of that, and you're doing things, you're like, I was in method, I was in character. Nah, dude. You just appreciated and using it as an excuse at that
Famously, Jim Carrey stayed
just gonna
in
say Jim
character
point. Oh, I know.
for the whole of Andy Kaufman when he
I
was doing
know.
the Andy Kaufman
I mean,
story.
the way he talks about it's really interesting because the way he talks about it, that to me is almost a little bit different of a case because the way he's saying that it wasn't just, it was like something took over him. It's an interesting, if you listen to Jim and Andy, the making of the Andy Kaufman show. You know, it was a documentary that Jim Carrey did, and he said it was almost like I was channeling Andy the whole time. And it wasn't, it was almost like an out of body experience because I was no longer me. And that's a really interesting, because he's also playing a real person. And that's,
Didn't he claim he had to go like through psychotherapy or something after that role to get out of character?
no, he said
Was that role? He said that about one of his roles, didn't he?
I think after Internal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I think he actually had to get
Ace
some.
Ventura.
So he had to. Well, no, he
No,
had
that's
to.
just
He
him
had to
playing
get.
himself.
No, I don't know, but he again. I don't know. I mean, it seems like he said that even like it was so much like he was so on himself. Like Andy Kaufman's daughter came and talked to him, and he goes, "I absolutely have no real memory. I have a very vague memory of what happened." But afterwards, she came to me and said, "Thank you for letting me speak to my father again." That was huge for him. That's a very different, to me, that's a very different experience. Was he a dick? Yeah, absolutely. Can you not be a dick? But the people that were involved, a lot of them said, yeah, that was just Andy being Andy, which is really interesting because that's what they would say. It's like, oh no, that Jim doing that was something that Andy totally would have done.
Yeah,
That is something that
Andy
Andy
Kaufman was kind of a dick. Like,
Yes.
that's
Yes. Which I think is
the
really
thing I don't like about that movie. They're like celebrating like he's this great thing, and I'm like, I don't
He
find
was a
him that
douchebag.
funny. I don't find him that entertaining. I think the things he did was very offensive. Like, I'm not sure what was the appeal there.
right. So
Taxi was okay, but that's about it. Like that's the only one that I go, yeah, I saw him on that show. He was that side character, and they always did the laugh track. Like,
right. I mean, that's what's really interesting is that like he said he was really complex and very not really well understood. He
was
would
weird.
go above.
Like
Yeah,
Andy Warhol. I still don't
Right.
know. He painted a Campbell soup can. That is forever ingrained in pop culture as impressive for some reason. But okay, cool.
He was into it was coming out the Dada period. Like we can get into because that's my bag back in college.
Yes,
he
Sewong. There was
yeah.
sorry, V. I'm sorry to, but yes, Sewong. There was one person that was on set that was like Andy wouldn't have done that, and it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you about that part,
he
but
wouldn't have done.
but I think he would have, and I think the guy was just saying he felt that Jim was completely shitting all over his friend when that was similar things that were being. You look back, and it was similar things that the guy did to his friend that they were supposedly friends with. That he was saying was the exact opposite, and the behavior was eerily similar. But it's because he's not seeing it as his friend, but he's seeing somebody imitating his friend. There's a lot of anger that comes up with that. And I can see that because you're destroying something that you have a good memory of. So it's interesting. It's an interesting perception. So go ahead. Sorry, V. I didn't mean to do that.
I was gonna say the painting the suit came out of like the fact that they were coming out of the Dada period and like everything was art in the Dada period. Like toilets put in public were an art piece. And yeah, they were.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird statement art. I've gone to museums and go, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody had their daddy paying for their school, didn't they? Like,
Well, Dada was all about they were the 1920s, like early 1900s,
late 1890s, early 1920s, yeah.
Fight the power kind of thing without being too lewd. But they were trying to be lewd, but they couldn't be lewd because they'd be arrested because there was a lot of really strict laws. Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, a lot of musicians too were in the Dada movement. A lot of people. Eric Satie was totally being a satirist, and a lot of people are in love with it. Are in love with his music, not even realizing that he was a Dadaist, and like his stuff was all for the fucks. Like it's so funny, and like a lot of like there's quite a few artists that were like, yeah, I'm doing this for the fucks, and people think it's brilliant. He's like, what? I changed one note. There's nothing brilliant about this.
I think it's a testament that people like stupid shit. It's why the Kardashians.
We like
why
stupid
TikTok
shit
exists.
since
We
the
like
beginning.
stupid
Yeah.
shit.
We've liked
recasting actors. Let's get back to that.
Sure, of course.
So who
But
would we
like
like to
stupid
see get recasted?
Ooh, it's funny because there's one actor that I thought was an interesting recast was the actor that was in 50 Shades of Grey got recasted. I thought it was actually a pretty good it was originally the guy from that bicycle show. I don't like it very much. Uh, Anarchy, whatever. That
Sons
show.
of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. There was like some blonde guy from Sons of Anarchy that was supposed to be 50 Shades of Grey, and then there was like, oh, he's ugly, he's gross, please don't put him on. And so he's supposed to be Christian Grey, and they did a really hot actor instead. So
That's really funny.
yeah, that stuff does happen
I think
too.
everybody wants Amber Heard off of Aquaman.
Yes, I think she
Yes,
should be recasted.
please.
Not just because she's a
She
terrible
has been.
beast human, but she is not a great actress.
No.
The lady,
apparently-
the lady who played Cheetah in Wonder Woman, I'm not a big fan of her.
The-
Christian
yeah, the
She's
something.
comedian-
great in comedy. She's great in comedy roles, and I just think that the movie was terribly written. I don't.
It was
I
too
don't-
long. It was just
No.
too long.
That's
Yes.
a big problem with a lot of superhero movies now. Is they're too fucking long. You can cut like 30 minutes out of them, and they would be a lot better. Like that was how Batman was.
It's
Where,
just bad
this
storytelling.
is a good movie, but goddamn if it's not slow, and it just drags. And yeah, the writing, you go like, what was this moment that you're like, I have to show you this for 5 straight minutes? Like it's bizarre.
I don't know. Slow stories don't bother me, but then again, I'm like someone who could sit through Once Upon a Time in the West, and think it's a fantastic movie. It's a 3-hour movie. I think it's amazing. I
Hey.
could sit through stuff like The Searchers and
Ma-
sit through a lot
got-
of like Gone with the Wind. I could sit
I got
through that. It's
I got
great.
a great recasting for you. Okay.
Yes.
This upcoming Flash movie, get the freak out of here.
Oh yeah,
with
Ezra Miller.
and give me Grant Gustin because
Yes,
Grant
every
Gustin
time,
is the
every
only
time.
Flash.
Yes,
Hashtag
Forrest.
my Flash.
Hashtag my Flash too. Same with Arrow. Like if you're gonna have an Arrow, please just have
Just put a
Stephen
Mel
Amell in
there.
Well,
Just
that's
have
another thing
that
I'm
man
recasting.
that man is freaking Quinn, man. Or Queen, Oliver Queen. Damn.
And the current Lois Lane, the one on the Superman and Lois show, that
Mhm.
that Lois Lane is such a beautiful throwback to the 80s movies of Superman.
Margot
like the two
Kit Margot or
beautiful.
Margot
First-
Kidder.
Margot Kiddo. Sorry,
First of all,
that
she's
was
beautiful. Second of all, she's brilliant on screen, and they should have used her alongside of Cavill in the Superman movies because she's just a brilliant Lois Lane. The CW can be real hit and miss with their characters.
They
but
can.
They are more hit than they are miss, and Grant Gustin was the perfect Flash.
Oh,
They've
he's
got
perfect.
They
Well,
got the
especially
best
against the
Flash, the best
MCU
Arrow, the
television
best
stuff.
Lois Lane. They got a pretty damn good Superman. I got to admit.
He's all right.
The
At
kid-
first he kind of like
the
he was
kid-
kind of hard to watch.
he's the
but then
kid from
after,
Seventh
he's grown
Heaven.
into him.
like
I've grown into it. He's grown into it. It's all good. I didn't bother him by the time Crisis came around. I was all right. I
and-
thought the casting for Superwoman was actually really good. I like the actress.
Who's
She's great.
Supergirl.
Supergirl. Yeah, I actually like her.
She's
She's a good
cool. I
actress. Yeah,
dig
she's
her.
cool.
And I want the classic redhead Mary Jane for Spider-Man. I don't care. And this is not a diss or any kind of racial comment against MJ. This
Zendaya?
is not what this is. Yeah,
Mhm.
Peter Parker needs his beautiful redhead Mary Jane. That's just the way it is.
That's why I love-
they're switching it up though.
That's why I like No Way Home. Yeah, I agree, V. I liked it.
Because
It didn't bother me.
it sort of like brings up the fact that no matter who's at Peter's side, no matter what they look like, no matter who they are, he's still Peter. And that's what I loved about No Way to Home brought it up. Where,
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it. I cried. I actually thought that was a brilliantly written movie. It's brilliantly written. It really
yeah, I cried
feels
like 4
true to the
times.
characters and like it made me laugh. It made
Yes,
me
say one.
cry. I agree. Barbara Gordon is someone who does need to be a redhead. And
Well,
and she
that's
also
another
does need to
question.
be
Why is it
Commissioner
always the
Gordon.
redheads that get like rewritten? Like that,
I don't-
it seems to be specifically redheaded characters. Oh, we're gonna recast that and like race swap it because we're progressive. Like that.
You know,
but
yeah.
they can't do it with other characters. Like why couldn't it be some other blonde bitch or somebody with brown hair or I wouldn't mind a black cat.
Dude, Marvel does it all the time.
What they do.
They
That's
do.
just it. So it's a consistent thing, and it's it's strange how it seems to always target the redheads.
Well, here's an interesting recast. So
Nick Fury's not a redhead.
So you had a so in a more serious casting thing. So you had Kevin Spacey playing a character. It's called For All the Money in the World, right? The scandals came out. They recasted him with Christopher Plummer, who ended up, I think he won the award for the role, but he only had like 70 days to do, because that was, they only had like 70 days left in the shooting, and he ended up coming and playing the character. My question of that, do you think that was a good call? I think that was fair.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Wow, I'm talking about serious act. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't understand how that related to recasting redheads.
It wasn't. It was the thing that I was talking about before. I was going to bring up before that even got.
Okay, I'm blaming the ADHD and the Fremont beer.
ADHD is fine.
But there's something shiny over there. Excuse me.
Squirrel.
No, it's okay.
Squirrel.
I can get squirreled. Twirled is interest is a. I get squirreled all the time.
What was the movie though? I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's For All the Money in the World. It's fine. It was like.
You haven't seen.
I hadn't either. I just know that it was a recast thing that happened, and it was because of everything coming out against Kevin Spacey.
Oh, there was the other one. It was that like Wonder Emporium or whatever. It was Heath Ledger's last movie where they had to bring like 3 actors to finish it because he had passed away. Which that one was very strange because
they did that with The Crow as well.
The Crow,
they did.
Yes. The Crow.
They did, yeah, with The Crow. They had to. And actually, the guy that played the Crow that finished the filming. I think his name is Vincent something. I don't remember his whole name. Morgan, will you stop photobombing, please? Sorry, my cat, everyone. He wants to be a part of the conversation.
Clearly.
I don't know why, but he just does. But he ended up going on and playing the Crow, the Crow in the series as well, from what I remember. And he was good at it. He was damn good at it. There was a series, and it was great. No one remembers it, though.
Listen, y'all, we are down to the last 6 minutes, and I didn't even notice it. I'm sorry.
No, we're actually at 14 minutes.
14?
Well, we give ourselves a 2-hour block, even though we start on drag time, which is like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, you're looking at the actual time, but I'm looking at the live, which is how long we've been on air.
He's trying to cut us off. And, he's like, no more talking.
Closing arguments, because it's going to take 20 minutes. All right, go.
All right, fine. Just recast me then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what will happen. That's fine. He's, he's trying to quiet quit. Yeah, he's trying to quiet
quit. We're going to replace you with, like, some chick, and it'll be woke. It'll be woke.
Probably be a redhead.
Yeah.
Really skinny blonde.
Hey, I'm the only redhead can be on this show.
I mean, the light kind of makes me somewhat kind of.
I mean, you do look kind of ginger. I'm not gonna lie. You are a token redhead.
This originally was supposed to be red. To be fair,
I'm teasing. Much love, Aubrey.
I see how it is. It's all right. It's just I see how this is.
Hey, I was getting shit about people wearing too much makeup last week. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Aubrey, you haven't
A to D segment, right?
What?
What's that
A to D
castle behind
segment.
me, Aubrey?
What?
What's that castle behind me? You haven't really taken notice.
Oh, is that Hyrule Castle there?
Very good.
See, I know my Hyrule.
What's my background?
I know my Legend of Zelda.
Where's Waldo?
That looks like a tea party. It looks like a tea party from Alice in Wonderland.
That looks like a Mad Hatter tea
Castle.
party.
What is it? Howl's Moving? I love Howl's Moving Castle.
It's his room.
Great. That's awesome. Oh. But is this a segue here for us? Are you going to be saying something about that?
No, actually, I'm not. I'm just.
That's funny.
I honestly thought we only had 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, you can start. We got about 12 minutes, so anytime it's all good. It's not like it's not like we're paid by the hour.
Not ever being paid at
all.
all.
Not paid at all.
You guys are
right.
paid?
Exactly.
We're
quitting.
Yeah,
Wait,
right?
it doesn't cost you guys money?
Well, it costs me money.
I could be.
Except for this.
I could be working.
People, a Fremont beer. Provided
we need them as a sponsor.
Yeah, no, seriously, I would say that the Sky Kraken is my favorite.
No, we know who the sponsors are going to be.
And Matt, we need to get your we'll talk to your nephew. We'll get him on Saber Rattle to interview him as the ice cream guy from One Piece.
Oh, so funny. So yeah, I it's interesting with all the recasting they have done without the explanations. I liked how No Way Home did resolve some of that. The multiverse theory did help a lot of that.
Are you okay, V?
Yeah.
Not
really
she's
sure
dead.
what's going on with V.
She's dead.
Oh, I know what she's like.
She's dead.
Hilarious laughter every episode.
You good down there, babe?
Okay. No.
she's going off hard.
The kids are not all right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I can
tease about that episode.
What episode? The Ice Cream Man episode?
The Dicks episode.
There's a Dicks episode? Wait, what? Wait, are we talking about sporting goods here? Or are we talking about...
Oh, we were talking about being supported by dicks.
I mean, you've piqued my interest, excuse me.
Well, you could say that Dick's Sporting Goods was recasted. So.
Yeah, if we could get a hardware store on board, especially a paint department, we could also be supported by Dicks and Caulk.
Oh.
He's waited the whole show to say that.
I know. I'm really sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I've been kind of running this one for like a week, haven't I?
Yes.
At least.
Dead.
And it's
She's
beautiful.
DED dead. She's dead like Spotty dead. She's just dead.
We can get a sponsorship from Titleist and have Dick Cock and Balls.
There you go. Now you're talking. There you go.
That's gonna end up with us having like a little banner show up on Pornhub, like watch
Dick Cock and Balls.
Cyber Cave, Dick Cock and Balls.
Sponsored by Dick Cock and Balls.
And then you can get
from A to D.
From A to D.
I'm just thinking if Kyber Cave After Dark had its own version of Nightmare Before Christmas, instead of Lock, Shock, and Barrel, it would be Dick Cock and Balls.
I was going to say something about Virginia Slim.
It sure sounds funny to hear Dick Cock and Balls coming out of your mouth.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
I could
No
say
comment.
That's a dirty joke, but I'm not gonna.
Come on. Bring it.
And with that, I am Fours. Hope you all have a wonderful night.
Oh shit! What's up, Saber Ball?
Hi, everybody.
What's up, River? Oh, wait, are you doing people's outros?
Oh,
No.
yes.
Night.
Well, we started an hour early. We moved our time
Kikunayo.
to 8 o'clock.
We did start an hour
And
early.
he started and it was like, wait a second, what the fuck? While we're wrapping up. It's only 10.
Dick Cock and Balls. That's what you came in
Cyber
on.
Cave, now for 3 hours, those reasons.
Hello,
Fours can't
River.
sleep.
Oh my God.
All right, go ahead, Forrest.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Starting
Wrap up the Dick Cock and Balls.
Oh,
now
Lord.
we're gonna get a
Wrap it
Trojan
before you
sponsorship too.
Remember, kids, be sure to wrap it up. Dave, let's start with you.
Oh.
Don't start with
You don't want to start with me?
It's the tip
gonna-
of it. It's the tip.
I'm just gonna
It's the
slip
tip.
me right up in front there. Huh?
Oh God. Oh.
Bring it right.
No, he's only getting you by the tip. It's fine.
Wow.
Well, just the tip.
Just the tip.
Outro, Dave.
Okay, I'm Dave, Master Swordsman, Master Joe Cracker, Dirty Mind, Filthy Mouth,
Masturbator.
Masturbator. Yep, but I got a
Okay.
good enough sense of humor that I get away with it. So I'm here for the dirty comments and inappropriate humor. It's actually not that
We love you
inappropriate.
for
It's Kyber Cave After Dark. Tune in every week, same time. Well, new time, 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah. It
Fridays.
still says 9 on the thing. It is 8 o'clock now.
Hey, Van, check it out. I'm promoting.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Woohoo!
But you're promoting on this damn channel that doesn't really count. You can't promoting to people that are already watching the fucking show doesn't really count to bringing new people in. But thank
Share
you for the
video
effort.
on Facebook like a good one. That's the episode you missed, you heathens.
And next,
V,
Just blowing smoke.
put V on the screen.
Well, you know he's full of hot air.
Up what? No.
The hotter the better.
Oh God.
Yeah. No. Our show gets better every day. I am V Veronica, whatever you want to call me. I am from what it was my show again, Nerdalism.
Nerdalism.
Nerdalism. And I'm
Isms
also
are good,
on-
but asms are better.
Oh my God.
You need to
Okay,
get out
keep
more,
going,
David.
V. Just keep going.
I'm
Yes,
gonna mute
I'm
myself
done.
here.
I'm done.
Wow.
She can't take it.
That's
No
it.
more!
You broke
No
her.
more!
You broke her, David.
Okay, so Nerdalism, whatever that is. And yeah, come watch our show. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, pretty much everything that you can possibly find us on. Now, I have a autograph king that's coming this episode. I'm very excited. He knows everybody. And actually really helpful getting me booked other episodes. So I'm very excited about what's coming forth. If I say more, the snipers will come and get me. So on to someone else.
Anthony.
Hi. I'm at home injured. Pray for a quick recovery for that, because goddamn, it sucks when I can't walk. Outside of that, I still have my show on Wednesday. We'll see if I'm actually up to perform for it. But we're doing a 90s night, so there's some options there. I'm probably going to do Daria.
Nice.
Because she's my spirit
Daria.
animal. That was me in high school. Just like, I'm going to be cynical and call out bullshit everywhere I see it, just because I think it's funny. But outside of that, I enjoy being here. I don't know how next week's going to go, because I am scheduled to work serving shift at night. But there's a good chance that I'm going to be cut early, so I might be here next week. We'll see.
Okay.
Good chance, but I might be late in anything. I might come in halfway.
Aubrey.
Hi, I'm Aubrey, and I'm a singer and actress. Just working on stuff. Yeah, I have a show you can come and see on Wednesdays as well, and I'll also be up in Sacramento on Saturdays, doing at the Maple Room, doing karaoke and singing for you guys. If you want to come, that's pretty much it. Just working on compositions
If
and
you're in the 209, come see me. If you're in
performing.
the 916, go see Aubrey.
Van.
Hello. All right. Well, if you're in the 916 this Sunday, come and see Kyber Cave at Toy Fusion. We are also this Sunday on our show on Saber Rattle. We have who do we have this Sunday? I know who we have. We have Bill from Five Titans out in Fallon, Nevada. He's actually going to be doing his interview from a con, so that will be
Awesome.
that'll be a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of things all in one segment. And remember, we're only like 8 subscribers away. I really think we're gonna pick that up. So make sure you tune in on Sunday. All you got to do is leave a comment, and you are entered into the drawing. And we're gonna have Marissa here, so we'll actually have the little wheel and everything. So make sure to tune in this Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Van, she left you a link to pull up for the wheel if you wanted it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So you know.
Yeah, but we will be doing that on Sunday. And we are going to be actually out and about quite often. We're not going to be at Silicon. I'm so bummed out that I'm not going to meet
What are
Ray
you
Parks
going
and
to be at?
George Sakai. We're gonna be at the Toy Fusion the last Sunday of every month in Sacramento. We are going to be in November. We are going to be at the film festival in Merced, November 11th. And I know we've got a couple of there's a con in Woodland coming up this next month. I think in like 2 weeks that we're going to be at. So I will definitely get more information as I get it. My store manager has our calendar of all the places that
You
we're going
should
to
post it so people can follow you. Because there was
I
a big
know.
complaint last time about we didn't know you were there.
be. Yeah. Yeah, this is. I know. I'm trying to get my shit together. It's a
Oh man.
long process. All right, Aaron.
Aaron.
And if you are in
All
the
right, Aaron,
lightsaber
pull us out.
community, then you can find my work there. I am ForsFX at forsfx.com. You could also go to saberfont.com to find my stuff there. I am assisting and moderating this show on Friday nights, and I'm a kind of a somewhat wannabe anime voice actor. Here's to the future, yay. But from all of us to all of you, thank you for joining us tonight here at Kyber Cave After Dark. And may the Fours
Woohoo!
be forever with you.
And with you.
Hi.
Good
Supported
night,
by
y'all.